Welcome to the Ring of Honor 14th Anniversary Show podcast here on AngryMarks.com. I am show producer Killa Kev, here to introduce our two hosts for discussing the show tonight. First of all, you hear him every Wednesday on Seth and Mike's Impact Implosion. It is the wonderful Mike Poulin.
Hello again, everybody.
And our other host this evening on the line with us is longtime Angry Marks contributor Rohan.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, Mike. It's been great to be invited back. Thanks for having me back. It's been a long time since we've done a show together. I think things like that, we just haven't been able to connect, but I'm glad we're getting to connect now. ROH had the KRD, but between Kevin, Poulin, and Rohan, we have the KRP.
Yep.
It took me 45 minutes to come up with that joke.
Yes. And yes, this is the 14th anniversary show that happened earlier this weekend from Las Vegas, which is kind of a weird crowd because it's not a normal ROH city.
No, they've done Vegas a couple of years in a row, but you're right. This wasn't your typical ROH pay-per-view crowd, and I'm not sure why that was. I had not seen.
I think it's the WrestleMania 4 vibe where they did like a casino, and it's a lot of. Although they say it's sold out, it's probably a lot of people who bought tickets at the casino beforehand.
You think it's probably just like a lot of walk-up traffic.
Yeah.
Not too many hardcores in this crowd. It didn't look like. You could kind of tell that by the pops that some people got and some people didn't. This was the first show I have seen from ROH since they upgraded their set, their lighting rig.
Yes, which was at the last tapings in Nashville, because that's what they're airing on TV right now.
Okay, so why don't we kick us off?
Our first match on the show was a triple threat match for the TV title with Roderick Strong, who lost the title at Honor Rising one of those nights against Ishii, who was the champion, and also the guy that Strong's been feuding with for the last couple months, Bobby Fish.
Yeah, I think this was originally scheduled to just be a one-on-one match, and then
Ishii and we were supposed to have Ishii and Goto, and we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one would have been better, but the one thing I got out of this...
Fish had a good match in a final battle that had a weird finish, which was supposed to be the reason for this match.
Well, and this one kind of had a weird finish too, but talk us through
this.
There
was a few weird finishes on this show, it seemed like.
Yeah, there was a spot about halfway through where Tomohiro Ishii had Bobby Fish in a power bomb, and the ref counted 3. Like, we could all see it. He screwed up, but it was only supposed to be a 2 count. That wasn't supposed to be the finish. And I think after that...
Was the referee Todd Sinclair?
It was.
Oh, that's why.
So after that, the crowd just kind of died after all this. So I thought it was a good match to start off the show, but I was kind of expecting a little bit more from this. So in retrospect, it was a very formulaic 3-way match where the action was pretty much.
You had another 3-way match in our main event too, so they probably didn't do too much.
Right. This one was more like 2 guys taking turns while one guy was on the outside.
Right. You'll notice that this show kind of goes by at a brisk pace too until you get to like the last couple matches.
Yeah, I don't know if they did a very good job timing out the show, because a lot of the matches seemed rushed.
Yeah.
So
I noticed that when it was like an hour in, and we're an hour and a half in, and we're already in like this match before the not the main event, but before the tag title match. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about in a little bit. Our next match is the Implosion of the Decade, which is B.J. Whitmer versus Adam Page. Page turned on Whitmer on a recent TV, revealing himself to be with Steve Corino, or for the case of this show, Mr. Wrestling 3.
Right. It's kind of funny that, the most over guy in this feud is a guy who's not supposed to be on TV regularly. And we're still kind of waiting to see if we're going to get eventually the Corino-Whitmer match.
We were supposed to get that at Final Battle.
What's the prognosis on Corino? Is his health still going to allow him to do a match?
I'm not sure. They haven't really played that up. I know, obviously, he's doing the Mr. Wrestling 3 stuff for the commentary. Mm-hmm.
So this was another one where it's kind of a shame that the crowd didn't care, but they
I think the problem with this match, too, is they just kind of started this feud. This portion of it, at least.
Mm-hmm. This is one of the matches on the card that didn't have any New Japan talent, but I think the build-up leading to it's been done incredibly well, and I'm not really a big fan of babyface Adam Page.
I think it's one of those situations where it hasn't really had enough time. The turn just feels kind of forced.
Mm-hmm. This is supposed to be billed as this big grudge match, and it comes across.
And it wasn't.
No,
it's the start of the feud.
The first thing that they do, like if it's going to be a real grudge match, if they hate each other so much, why are they starting off doing chain wrestling?
And then they brawl on the floor for like 5 minutes.
Right. So about halfway through the match, BJ tries to do the pile driver on the ring apron.
Yeah, a la what he did to Mike Bennett a few years ago.
Yeah, and the commentators did make note of this. This is what put BJ on the shelf for a number of months.
Yep. And what basically turned him into the heel that we have now.
Right. And I don't take it very seriously when people they go out to ringside. They bring in a couple of chairs, and they're not the steel folding chairs. They're like the plastic stacking chairs with the big puffy cushions on them.
Yeah, that's weird.
There's something wrong with that.
They're banquet chairs.
Right. They're the kind of chairs that you would find in your standard church basement. So there's a distraction.
Which probably means they would hurt a bit more than a folding chair.
You would think, just use like the pointy end, the pointy part.
Yeah.
So they go for a distraction. BJ hits a low blow, which the camera.
And he gets a small package and wins. Here's the problem: they're building up to this as a big grudge feud, and both guys tried to use the chair. Why did the ref not call for the bell? That could have been also a way to continue this.
You would think, if this were real, then the officiating up and down this show was terrible.
Not good.
We'll
get into it when we talk about Moose and Okada, but there's something I noticed right at the end of that match.
Okay.
With the finish, the officiating on this show was not good.
So Page hits a low blow, which
Whitmer hit the low blow.
Right. He got the low blow on Page, which didn't look very good at all either, because you could see that he hit him in the almost like back of the knee. It was like it was an inside leg kick, which they played off as a groin shot.
Whoops.
So
good job not knowing what you're playing up.
So the producers of that, or the director there, should have probably gone a long shot with that one. And Page gets the loss, and then a bunch of geek security people come in, and he
beats them down. Which, ROH has a zero tolerance policy, so that could be a way of getting him off TV. But they just taped about a month's worth of TV last night, and he seems to be on it.
Yeah, let's see how now he's full of rage. So I feel so bad for those there we go, Rage Page. Let's make a T-shirt with that. So the next match, I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if there's titles on the line. This is the main event right here. Hiroki Goto versus Dalton Castle with an army of boys.
Yes. If any gimmick was made for Las Vegas, it's Dalton Castle.
So now, is he still feuding with Silas Young during this? Because I know that
they taped a Fight Without Honor for an upcoming TV last night.
Yeah, I read the
weird,
spoilers.
Because you think that would be the match they do here.
Okay,
here's what
I have a problem with this, because so basically, Goto gets the win,
which is to be expected. Match is not that good.
Goto gets the win. This win does nothing for him. The commentary kept bringing up the fact that he's lost IWGP title matches like the last 8 times.
So he wins, but the commentary is bearing him for losing a title somewhere.
Right. So putting him in there with Dalton, I don't think does anything for him. I think if you're going to get behind Dalton, you could have put him in there with someone from New Japan that can afford to take a loss. I don't know if Honma was available, but I thought maybe that would have been a better
way where it doesn't, or he cannot, where Goto doesn't have to take the fall.
Yeah, highlight of this match for me.
You had guys that you weren't using on this show.
Yeah, highlight of the match
being one of them, Cheeseburger being another, and Cedric Alexander being the third.
Right, and all those guys were used in the Night 2 TV tapings. So it's not like they weren't there.
Right. Okay, before we move on from Dalton, like, do you see him as a guy that could be, without having to lose the gimmick, a title, like a champion in Ring of Honor?
No. I don't, unless he would have to really, I
could see him being like a contender for the TV title, but not like on Jay Lethal's level.
No, he's become such a comedy figure that he's in, like, I don't want to say he's in like the Fandango range, but I don't see them
Adam
doing
Rose.
anything. Right, they're not going to do anything with him past this comedy gimmick. They tried to do something with
that's bad
the
because
boys.
He's not bad in the ring.
No, I think he's got some great potential. You know, he's a good worker. He's a good storyteller. I like his facials. I think he's got those couple of the German suplex from a seated position. The highlight of this match for me was when Goto tried to attack him from the second rope, and Goto he's not a small dude.
Don't use the voice of steps.
And Castle got him with an overhead belly to belly.
Yep.
So after the match, the two guys shake hands again. This match does nothing for Goto.
Nope.
I thought they would get behind Dalton, give him a win on pay-per-view,
especially when he has the match next night.
But I also think I don't think Goto was the originally scheduled opponent for him, anyways.
Goto was supposed to face Ishii, and then the TV title switched the week before.
Right. So what are you going to do? So speaking of bad reffing, that takes us to the next match. This is where I just kind of threw my arms up in the air. It was Christopher Daniels, accompanied by Kaz, versus Alex Shelley.
The match with Brian Kendrick on commentary for some reason.
The star of Total Divas.
Huh?
Okay, I know we're kind of getting off topic here. Brian Kendrick, the last couple of episodes, my wife has become a big fan of Total Divas.
Oh boy!
And we were watching it, and sure enough, Brian Kendrick is on the show, and apparently he's on the next 2 episodes. And so I kind of, as soon as he comes out, I'm like, hey, it's the guy from Total Divas, and she was like, who are you talking about? He's the guy who's training Eva Marie. So that made all kinds of sense to her. So,
which doesn't explain why Eva Marie's still terrible, but anyway.
Oh, come on. I like Spanky. He's good.
No, I think Eva Marie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because they must be doing something with him because he worked the Night 2 tapings.
Yes, and a dark match.
Yeah. So
but he's not a good commentator.
No, he was like the broom that Kenny Omega put out later on in the show. He had nothing to contribute. He was a black hole of charisma. They were just trying to get words out of him, and they were getting nothing out of him. Much like this match.
This match could have been it was good, but it could have been better if you didn't have 9 matches here.
Alex Shelley will always feel weird to me in this era of ROH. I just don't think he's a fit.
That's true, yeah.
So all throughout this match, Daniels and Kazarian
continuously interferes.
There was interference everywhere, right in front of the referee. The match itself wasn't good, but I think the finish made up for it. As it had a lot of people complaining, but I'm glad this KRD stuff is over now, that we can get the Motor City Machine Guns back. So, but halfway through the match, Chris Sabin comes out, and there has been tension between Chris Sabin and the Addiction for the last couple of months. So he basically he tried to help Alex Shelley.
For some reason. Now, the tension's been between Sabin and Shelley.
Do you see this as a swerve coming? Do you see Sabin turning on Shelley?
No, because they already taped a match for TV with the Addiction and the Guns. Okay.
And was there any report on how Sabin's knees were doing?
No, they just said they could tape the match for TV in like a month or so between those two teams.
Okay.
Which is odd. They didn't say how, but it's a tag match. You can probably cover up bad knees by having Shelley doing the workload.
Well, Shelley will be the one that they get the heat on. They'll do the hot tag, and Sabin will be a house of fire, and
Shelley will be the Ricky Morton.
There you go.
Yeah. Shelly won the match with a weird roll-up.
Daniels went for that bullet belt for his military garb, and he got it. Okay, next. Briscoes versus Elgin and Tanahashi.
Oh, this is good. I like this.
The one-armed man.
Tanahashi and Elgin. Starts off a little slow, but it gets good once you get all of them in there. And the Briscoes work over Tanahashi for a little bit. And then, what was it? Elgin comes in and cleans house. For some reason, they're calling it Big Mike. I know they've been doing that for a while. I don't know. I don't like that. Have
they been trying to hashtag that?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was it all night? We see hashtags up in the corner just like WWE does.
Oh, God.
That pisses me off. If you're going to be different, then be different.
And of course, the Briscoes take the loss when Mark takes the fall, as Mark does when the Briscoes team up.
Yeah, he took the high fly flow from the one-armed Tanahashi, who I didn't know he was injured going into this. You certainly couldn't tell by watching it. At least I couldn't. But I wasn't looking for that sort of. I wasn't looking for any sort of injuries, and it's kind of good that I didn't know, because otherwise I might have been a little bit more critical on this match.
Yep, and our next match is Okada and Moose.
Okay, about 2 weeks ago. Sorry, about 2 weeks ago, my son was running through the card with me, because I didn't have a full lineup, and he's reading the matches, and he gets to this, and he just kind of looks at me. It's like, this must be some sort of typo. It's Okada versus Moose.
They're trying to build up Moose.
Well, if they're trying to build up Moose, why did he take a loss? I don't understand.
He lost to Elgin as well at Final Battle. I don't know if they're going to lead to some kind of heel turn where for some reason he beats up Stokely Hathaway, which would be bad because I'm not sure that Moose can talk, or that you'd want him to.
And I don't see Stokely Hathaway as a babyface manager anyways. Like,
he's just a mouthpiece.
He should be a heel mouthpiece.
He should be with Nana in that group.
They need to bring back R.D. Evans.
Where is he? He's in Chikara as some gimmick.
He's done a couple of Chikara spots. I think he'd done some PWG, but no, I want to see him back. He's my homeboy.
Yeah, he left after the whole thing with Veda Scott.
So basically, this is another match that kind of failed to deliver. I think overall, it was solid in the sense that it really helped display Moose's athleticism. Within the first 5 minutes of the match, they were both teasing, hitting drop kicks off of two of their opponents who were already on the top rope, which Moose has done in a couple of spots.
Would you maybe switch? Would you maybe put Castle in this match with Okada and maybe Moose in the match with Goto?
You could have certainly done that. You could have.
I don't know. Give Moose a win.
I don't know how many New Japan guys that they were able to bring over. I know that
they were supposed to have Nakamura, but he of course got signed up.
Yeah. Could have put Moose with Hanma, or I don't know. Yeah, have Geto go in and do a 5-minute match with him.
Right. That way you can at least put Moose over.
But this is not a match, again, much like the one of the previous matches. This win does nothing for Okada because he hasn't
for anyone involved, honestly.
He hasn't built up to another challenger yet. If they were going to get behind Moose, they could have given him a win. But I don't think anybody in that crowd or watching ever thought that Moose was gonna pin Okada.
That's what's strange about the booking of this match. Is like I get that they're trying to build up Moose, but it's a no-win situation because you're not going to have him beat Okada because people aren't going to like that.
Near the end of the match, Moose does the big Okada pose where he stands and then just raises his arms to the side, and they do the big camera zoom out, and you could see when the camera zoomed out that nobody cared.
Yeah, and Okada wins with the Rainmaker, but it looks like Moose actually got his shoulder up. So
maybe they can use that, somewhere down the line. They could.
Well, they're bringing in the New Japan guys again for Global Wars in May, which I'll talk about later because I think that's kind of over-depending on those guys for all these shows, but it kind of sends a bad message to the rest of your roster, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. Next comes the greatest man who ever lived, Kenny Omega.
Comes
down to the ring carrying a broom. It's a shoot broom, and he puts the broom at the announcer's desk next to Kevin Kelly and puts a headset on it. And I kind of laughed, and Carino there, who's doing commentary, is like, well, we've both worked with worse, which was a direct shot at. It was a direct shot at Brian Kendrick.
Yep. And this was actually probably the best match on the show.
Yeah, I think as far as action goes, this was okay. It was for the never openweight 6-man tag team championships as the members of the Elite. Anyways, they're taking on ACH, Matt Sydal, and Kushida, who is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion.
Yujiro!
And Matt Sydal, one half of the IWGP Junior Tag Champs. We could have used his partner on this show,
Ricochet,
but he's probably busy with Lucha Underground stuff. This will sound like a bit of an absurd gripe, but this didn't hit the sweet spot for me, other than the Elite matches have thus far. Even if the other Bucks matches, it kind of deteriorated into your typical Young Bucks match.
Yeah.
I don't
one
think,
Young Bucks match, you've seen them all.
I don't think Kushida was fit for this type of environment, and it seemed like at times that it was being worked too conventional about how 6-mans work. And then we get the extremely just ridiculous set of spot fests that could have, I don't know, just seeing poor Matt Sydal take, finish after finish after finish.
I'm surprised that guy has a neck.
The spot of the match for me was the near death of Matt Sydal when he took the dragon suplex from Omega
on the floor.
Oh, that's right. That was one of two suplexes. The first one, Sydal is standing on the ring apron, gets super kicked by one of the Bucks. Omega happens to be right there, catches him in a waist lock, German suplexes him on the steel ramp, and
Yikes.
I lost my mind at that point. And then the second one, Sydal was just kind of standing there in a daze. Omega comes in, hooks him in a full Nelson, not the typical kind, but and then falls back at about 90 miles an hour. I'm sure this is going to be an animated GIF somewhere soon, but I thought, there, for the grace of God, goes a paraplegic.
And then to make things worse, Omega's finish is a freaking electric chair where he just dropped him on his head.
Oh, man. No one...
Poor Matt Sydal.
Poor Matt Sydal. But again, this is a very typical Young Bucks 6-man. I guess the benefit of all this was that the guys got to build up the last few minutes, which is everything that you ever want to happen. They hit the Meltzer driver, they hit the one-wigged angel, and still your never open-weight tag team champions, the Elite.
And about 500 super kicks.
Okay. And is it just me, or was there a high number of enziguri kicks on this show?
Yeah, seemed that way.
It's like, is there no one putting these matches together?
Delirious has a thing for enziguri.
He's a big enziguri mark. Okay, so we get to our main event.
Tag title match.
Tag title. Oh, that's right. I missed the tag title match. That's how important this match was to me.
War Machine and All Night Express, no DQ. All Night Express won a contenders match at Final Battle, had their shot on TV a few weeks ago, and that match ended in DQ, which is why you have this match. And it's about what you'd expect. It's a brawl where they were, I believe, they each kick out of each other's finisher, which I guess you got to get that spot in once at every show.
Right.
And then I believe one of War Machine gets put through a table, and then Rowe puts King through a ladder, and then Titus takes the fall out and gets and the War Machine retains.
Yeah, this match I think it's a victim of placement. This match came right after the Young Bucks match, so crowd was not into this at all. This was
the Diva spot, the dead spot before the main event.
So this is not one that anyone is going to really remember. This is not an all-time tag team classic.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't meant to be.
I think the less said about that, one, the better.
Yeah. And your main event.
We have the ROH World Champion Jay Lethal defending against Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly.
Baby.
Adam Cole, baby.
And this is this is Cole. I thought the title was going to switch and they were just going to continue Cole and O'Reilly as the feud over the title.
Yeah, this was one where it was, unlike the first three-way, this one, it was I think it was a lot better paced because it had more actual three-way spots.
Yep. You had the submission spot where Lethal's about to tap and Cole grabs his hand and stops him. Don't you tap now.
At times, it kind of looked like that the match was falling apart into a Cole O'Reilly fight, but Lethal was having none of it.
Lethal was like that other guy who was like, don't forget about me.
That's right. I'm in this match too, So he was consistently interjecting himself into the fray. So the story basically going in was it almost came across like, well, Cole and O'Reilly is the bigger story than the title. But either
when Rock and Triple H and Angle had their three-way at SummerSlam 2000.
Right, exactly. So there was, just like you said, the one crazy moment when O'Reilly had both guys in submission holds. I thought that looked cool. I could have seen either guy tapping out just to kind of screw the other one.
Yep, and that's why Cole stopped it.
Finish came. Basically, I believe it's, I don't know. This match also didn't have a whole
O'Reilly goes for the rear naked on Cole, and Cole fights him off, and Lethal lands a double lethal injection.
I have never bought the lethal injection as a finish. I think it looks goofy as shit. I think
it's a mid-match move. It's a comeback move.
It's what's that move that Matt Hardy always did? That
side
slant. The side effect, right? It's the side effect, but they're playing it off as a finisher. The fact that he has to do that stupid little bounce headstand off the ropes before hitting the cutter,
right?
It looks ridiculous. And then
a lot of Lethal's big moves kind of look silly because I never bought the Lethal combination, but they never tried to use that as a finish either. But that also kind of looks silly. But who's next for Lethal now?
That's the thing. This whole event didn't really build anyone up. I mean, he killed off two more contenders.
It looks like go ahead.
I was going to say, my only guess is that they're going to have someone from New Japan challenge him soon.
Well, from the TV I saw, it looks like they're aligning Dijak with Prince Nana, and that might be maybe the Supercard challenger, just to get that out of the way. Because the Supercard of Honor show is not going to be pay-per-view. And, of course, the next pay-per-view is in May, which is Global Wars in Chicago with the Japan crew again. Which, here's my question. Do you think they overly rely on the New Japan guys? Because I kind of get that vibe.
It seems like they're putting a lot of eggs in this New Japan basket here.
If you look overly rely on them, and it hurt this show because you already had a lot of feuds. You had several feuds that you could have blown off here, but because of the Japan guys being brought in, you couldn't blow them off.
You look up and down this ROH roster, and there's not a ton of guys that you can actually see as legitimate title contenders.
It's not like even a few years ago when you had Steen there, you had the Wolves, you had who else? You had Adam Cole and O'Reilly are probably the most legitimate, and they just beat them both.
Mm-hmm. Unless you put those two in a number one contenders match. I mean, if they,
I could see O'Reilly getting the title around Best in the World.
It seems like they want to carry on the Cole O'Reilly storyline, anyways.
It also seems like, from what I saw for the TV tapings that they taped, they want to do something with Adam Cole and Matt Taven, which is weird. He left the remnant of the kingdom fighting.
So underlying theme of the show for me was pretty underwhelming.
I would say it had some good matches. The Bucks match is triple threat for the title, probably the two best matches overall.
if you really like all those high spots, then the Bucks match would have been your cup of tea. But I can understand why they're not Jim Cornette's favorite tag team.
Like I said, you've seen one Bucks match, you've seen them all, and I think there's someone that gets overused by Ring of Honor too, because they seem to pop up on every show.
What would you think about Kenny Omega being the next challenger for Lethal?
If you can get him in there regularly and maybe have that be the Global Wars match, I could see that working. Yeah.
Because he's basically a babyface to this audience, anyways.
Right. And Lethal's pretty much beaten all the other main contenders that ROH has. He beat Strong. He's beaten Bobby Fish, but that was when he was TV champion. Dijak seems to be the guy they want to do next, just to get that out of the way.
No, but he's not ready to main event anything yet.
Yeah, I think they're doing it as the Supercard show just to get it out of the way, and so they don't have to throw it on a pay-per-view.
So
yeah, this is a C+ show. It's not anything like totally amazing, but it's not. It's good, but it's not. It's not the anniversary show. It should be a lot bigger, and I think having all the Japanese guys might have hindered it a little bit.
Like you have this same card in, say, a Chicago or a New York City. I think there a lot can be said about
the crowd.
About the crowd.
Not being a standard Ring of Honor crowd, because they've only done Vegas. They did it last year for the anniversary, and they did a show there, a live event there last summer.
But if you remember, the crowd last year wasn't great either. Of course, they didn't have a very good main event. They had the four-way main event last year.
Weird four-way match with Jay and Elgin
Hansen.
And Moose. It was Ciampa and it was Hansen.
So if you're thinking about ordering this, you're probably going to see a lot of these matches, or at least clips of them on ROH TV in the next little while.
Wait for the DVD to come out, or the VOD or whatever.
Right. This is, it certainly wasn't worth, the $45 in HD that they were asking for, at least in my neck of the woods. All right. Well, I got nothing to plug except one thing. I just want to give a shout out to a man who is a legend, even if it's only in his own mind. He is the proprietor of the Drunkcast and my new Facebook friend, Ed in San Antonio. Ed, I know you're listening. Yes. Ed, I know you're listening. And he sent me the friend request. I did not go to him, which means I've got something that he wants, but I don't know what it is. He's going to punch Brian Alvarez in the face at WrestleMania. I want to be there to see it. I might purchase him a beverage at the UFC convention in July, which I'm planning on attending. So outside of that, that's all I've got.
Yes, and I think we're done. Yeah. So
perhaps we will talk again after the next ROH pay-per-view
on May 8th, Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. What a better way to tell your mother that you love her.
Unfortunately, this time you don't win a house. You win a house. I hope everybody gets a chance to listen to this later. And we'll talk to you all later.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yep.